Hello everyone, I'm Shannon Slatton in Robbinsdale. Here's a look at your top stories.
Here at Nana Rosa's restaurant, the pandemic hasn't stopped the phones from ringing and customers from showing their support.
It's laid back atmosphere, great food, great drink, everything's good here, so I always like it here.
It's one of the only restaurants that I actually come to quite frequently.
Those customers have helped this Robbinsdale restaurant survive even the worst of times.
There's no protocol for how to run a restaurant during a pandemic shutdown, but here we are. And thankfully, our customers showed us that they appreciated what we did in such great measures that we could continue.
Tina Sulia and her husband Francesco opened Nana Rosa's in 2010, a forerunner to Robbinsdale's thriving restaurant scene.
I call it the Renaissance.
The Renaissance, right?
We had no Pig Ate My Pizza. Travail opened shortly after.
Nana Rosa's success was built through hard work.
Cooking is it's physically demanding, and it takes a lot of concentration.
It's something Francesco Sulia has done his whole life, from working in a kitchen as a 12-year-old in Italy until now.
Coming over here at 10 o'clock in the morning and leave at 8 o'clock at night, 7 days a week, is not time for family.
For us, it was like handing over our child.
Not having enough time for family, they realized it was time for a break.
We just don't know what's next, and that's scary and exciting all in the same time.
For the first time in a long time, the Sulias will no longer run a restaurant, turning over the keys to a friend who, like them, has spent many years in the industry.
Really the goal in the transition is to keep everybody on board and keep everything the same. And so I really wanted to spend the time to make sure that we paid tribute to everything that they had built here.
Jesse Flieger knows how important Nana Rosa's is to Robbinsdale.
That locally owned, neighborhood ran, family owned and operated restaurant first is the thing that means the most to me.
The name and the authentic Italian food will remain, a comforting feeling to a couple who work so hard to make it what it is.
We love this community so much, it's it's very hot.
It's been such an honor, and it's been such a beautiful adventure for us.
In Robbinsdale, Corey Bork, CCX News.
It's more of a small town type atmosphere.
In nearly every town in America,
we've been a local destination here in New Hope for coming on 30 years right now.
There's a restaurant that serves as a home away from home. And for Larry and Barbara Ann Gallagher.
And there was a song back in the 50s called Ba 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 Ba, and I can't sing it myself. But
Frankie's Chicago-style bar and restaurant in New Hope fits that description.
We come here and everybody knows your name, like on Cheers.
Frankie's is a neighborhood staple that's famous for serving up authentic Chicago-style pizza.
Well, pizza accounts for about half of our menu sales, maybe just a little over that. We also do some other items like Chicago dogs. We also do Italian beef sandwiches that we roast in-house here.
Since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, General Manager Kent Garbers says they're down in sales from previous years. The dining room capacity is at 50%, and they've had to close their banquet room for the time being.
No more birthday parties, graduation parties, and all the different events that we had back there.
But the mindset here is that they've got this. It certainly helps that the food on their menu translates well for takeout, so they had all the infrastructure in place before COVID hit.
Pizza does really well with takeout. A lot of restaurants called me, friends in the industry that were saying, how do we get started in takeout? And it's not just packaging and engineering your menu for that. You also need the phone system that can handle it, online ordering, our point of sale system, all comes together to be able to handle that system.
And if dealing with COVID restrictions wasn't enough, they also have to worry about fluctuating prices of cheese. Garbers says it's up about 40% from this time last year.
We definitely have to eat the cost right now. Down the road, we may have to adjust prices to suit it. We'll kind of monitor the market as it goes.
The good news is that for a lot of people, the food on their menu is hard to resist.
Sometimes we have pizza, sometimes we have one of the sandwiches, and sometimes we have ravioli.
So as long as they have loyal customers with a craving for carbs, this neighborhood favorite will weather the pandemic storm.
The community has carried us through. I know that's going to continue.
In New Hope, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
This is the final week of regular season competition in high school swimming. In this week's CCX Sports Spotlight, we meet a Wayzata high school athlete making the best of her senior year.
It is definitely a different kind of season for high school athletes this fall. But Wayzata senior Jenna Marquette didn't allow the necessary restrictions put in place because of COVID-19 to change her outlook.
I don't feel that COVID has necessarily put a stop to my senior year or hindered my senior year experience in any way. I still feel like this year has been a great year in that I still get to experience my last year on the team.
Now in her 4th year on the Wayzata varsity, Jenna is one of several upperclassmen to step in and lead what is generally a younger team this fall.
It's definitely allowed our upperclassmen, even our juniors, not just our seniors, to just step up, and they're really showing how good of leaders that they can be, and I'm kind of just really proud of everyone for being able to step up like they have.
We've been trying to make some kind of sense of normalcy all season long, and for her to then come in and be sort of a rock that these girls can go to, that's huge.
Marquette, 15 yards to go, is going to get to the finish first.
She has such a presence, both here and then also outside of the pool. Like, I know that she'll talk to her teammates at school as well.
Marquette is an elite swimmer who competes in the off-season for the Minnetonka Swim Club. Much of her club season was wiped out because of the pandemic, and she missed going to junior nationals for the 4th time. Still, she was able to stay in shape.
I was able to swim on my own, at my own pool, on my own time, before I started swimming for club again. And I feel like that really helped me out too, but I feel like I'm in a good spot right now for how much training I missed out on.
There are no state tournaments for Minnesota high school fall sports this year. Jenna finished as state runner-up in the 100-yard breaststroke in 2019. And she is just taking this season all in stride.
I am a little sad that I won't be able to go to state or have a senior year state, but at the same time, I'm also extremely happy that I was able to get this chance to have my last high school season, because I did not think that we were going to have this season at the beginning of summer, and I was kind of preparing myself to not have a season. But the fact that we're able to still practice, and we've been practicing as long as we have been, I'm just really grateful that I'm still able to have this experience, even if it's a little different.
Stroke leg, Marquette has pulled ahead here.
Next year, Jenna will enroll at Purdue University and swim for the Boilermakers. Home to one of the nation's top engineering programs, she picked the school first before finding out about swimming.
I initially was interested in it because I wanted to pursue engineering as my major in college. So when they contacted me, I was really excited because they're very high ranked in engineering. And the fact that their coaches were interested in me was an added bonus because I've always wanted to swim in college as well.
Next week's Section 5AA meet will be the final high school competition for Jenna before heading back to club swimming. She's loved her years at Wayzata, but is now ready for the next challenge.
I'm really excited to start the next chapter of my life doing college swimming. And I'm also thankful that I'm able to have this last year of experience on this team.
Jenna is in her 8th year of competitive swimming. Her last Lake Conference dual meet is this week against Eden Prairie. The Trojans will be part of the season-ending Section 5AA meet on October 24th at the Minnetonka Aquatic Center. Coming up later this week on CCX, watch for Week 2 coverage of Wayzata football as the Trojans travel to St. Michael to take on the Knights. It's homecoming for St. Michael Albertville, and kickoff is at 5 p.m. Tune in at 4:55 for our live telecast here on CCX1. That's all for sports. I'm John Jacobson.
Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.